in ways that have never been done before, some businesses that are going to help law enforcement in their effort. With us, we also have someone from the U.S. Attorney's Office, a coordinator, Lisa Thelwell. The U.S. Attorney's Office and the Attorney General's Office, along with state attorneys from around the state, really work hand in hand with our law enforcement partners, and we're grateful they could be here today. As the Bucks take on the Chiefs, those standing up here today will take on our own opponent, and that is human traffickers, those that would look to profit off other people's pain and misery, those that are seeking to coerce individuals into sexual or labor servitude. So while we celebrate our Bucks and the big game here in Tampa Bay, we want to remember that there will be so many hard at work and enlist the efforts of the community to help law enforcement go after aggressively human traffickers. The good news is we have home field advantage here this year. We know our opponents. Last year in Super Bowl 54, we spent a great deal of time partnering with businesses. Some of them are returning here today. We have new ones that we've enlisted in our fight that I'm excited about. I don't think's ever been done. And so we'll announce those today. But we worked with community organizations, elected leaders, law enforcement. They made 47 arrests in human trafficking cases last year connected with the Super Bowl. 22 victims were rescued as a result of those efforts. So we knew leaving Super Bowl 54 that it was just halftime here in Florida for law enforcement and our business leaders, because we had back-to-back Super Bowls. An amazing state to live in where you can get back-to-back Super Bowls, but that means we have to have double the efforts to go after the criminal organizations that follow those exciting events. So we began working during our halftime, and we have come up with new ways to engage the community and businesses to detect signs of human trafficking, know when they may see a victim so that they can immediately report that to law enforcement. We began working with FHP in the fall and the Truckers Association to start training truckers that are on our highways to be eyes and ears at rest stops, at gas stations, to recognize the signs of human trafficking. We know that in the past, victims have been rescued because of truckers who reported something suspicious. We've trained nearly 4,000 truck drivers that will be on Florida's highways and roads in advance of this Super Bowl. We joined with the Tampa Airport. I was excited to announce there, and we appreciate their management in putting up signs all over the airport so that not only travelers but airline employees can see how to report when they see suspicious behavior. You may have heard there was a young girl rescued from something that an airline employee saw on a plane, and when they landed, law enforcement was there to help. We've worked with Airbnb in advance of this Super Bowl to train hosts to make sure they know the signs to look for. And again, we're always looking for people that appear to be anxious, nervous, may have branding on their skin, are looking to someone else to answer for them in an event where someone else has their identification information. These are all signs that we're training our business partners to communicate to their employees to be on the lookout for. Again, this year, we partnered with Uber. So we're not just dealing with air transportation. We're now on the ground. We're looking at our transportation drivers to be trained. An Uber driver who overheard in a conversation in California was responsible for rescuing a victim because of something he heard and reported. They've signed up to do that again for this Super Bowl. Not just transportation, lodging. We've partnered with our hotel and restaurant industries to make sure their workers are trained ahead of the Super Bowl. And we often hear about sexual exploitation, and that does happen, and we do see coercion in that regard, but we also have labor servitude that we can't forget about, and make sure that in some of these industries that they're paying attention to this. And we're excited to announce that we're not just dealing with hotel, lodging, and transportation anymore. Now we're going to partner with businesses that are going into these places of business with products. And so I'm proud to announce today that we've partnered with the National Beer Wholesalers Association, the Florida Beer Wholesalers Association, and the beer industry of Florida. Now I know it surprises you, that there is a lot of beer consumed during Super Bowl week. And maybe I'm breaking that news for the first time today, but these are the types of partnerships we wanted to be creative about. We really thought ahead. What are the businesses that will have the employees in these places at the right times, at the right moments, that would be in a position to spot victims, and in turn cooperate and pass that information along to our amazing law enforcement partners. That is how we protect communities. That's how we protect states, is if we can engage with our citizens and businesses to get in the fight, get in the purpose and mission of protecting our communities together and joining as a team, a united front against traffickers. So I'm so excited to announce this partnership. You'll hear from someone from those industries today. We have trained beer distributors the employees that will be on the roads and going into these businesses to be on the lookout and help us spot victims. And these are just a few of the examples of how we have engaged and partnered through the U.S. Attorney's Office with the Attorney General's Office to combat and add to our team ahead of the Super Bowl. Now, law enforcement knows that the way they're going to be successful is if they can get the right information in a timely manner. And that is why these partnerships are so very important, and that's why they're here today, lined up to not only say thank you to our business partners for engaging in this fight, but to enlist community members that may be watching today to look out for and know the signs of victims of human trafficking. And I think each and every one of you that has shown up today in the middle of a Super Bowl week when there's a lot going on to help us get this message out. We are just a small part of the puzzle. Prosecutors and law enforcement are just a small part of the puzzle to protecting our communities. You're helping us do that by getting this word out. It will take a strong, united team to go after traffickers. They adapt to challenging situations. We saw when COVID hit and we went on lockdown orders, a lot of it moved online. And so law enforcement has their work cut out to them to change and adapt with them, to make sure that they can follow the trends, but they've done a great job, and I'm so proud of their efforts. We have just come out of the National Human Trafficking Month in January, leading up to the big game of the Super Bowl the first week in February. This is a challenging time for law enforcement, especially in the fight against human trafficking. But as you can see, if we work together, we can make a difference. Last year's statistics prove that. So we have the right people in our fight. We have good people in good places at the right time. If you're a Survivor fan, it is heroes versus villains. And this team that we've assembled will win this fight, but we need the community's help to do it. So thank you to everyone here that is supporting this effort by being here today. It was important to me and to my office when communicating how important this mission and this task is in terms of rescuing survivors and aggressively pursuing their traffickers. I wanted you to hear from someone who could share the perspective and vantage point of a victim. So we're first today going to hear from Michelle Walker, who is going to deliver remarks on behalf of victims of human trafficking.
Good morning. Thank you, Attorney General Moody, for even having this conference to be able to bring awareness to something that is so important, the problem of human trafficking, and allowing victims to be able to have a voice and share why it's important for everyone to just be vigilant and be aware. Years ago, about 15 years ago, Miracles opened up our first residential home. At that time, I had never even heard of human trafficking or even knew what trafficking was. And shortly after, we had a young lady that was brought to us who had been taken away from the state of Florida. She was lured in by someone on social media, someone that she thought would be a friend to her. And during that time, she was very vulnerable during the loss. She had just lost her father and thought that this would give her an opportunity to find the family life that she thought that she had just recently lost. That person just continued to friend her, make her think that she loved her, and continue to make her think that, oh, this is a family and we're gonna just go forward. And unknowingly to her, she ended up being trafficked severely beaten, abused, and this went on for several months. And eventually, the only way that this nightmare came to an end was when she was actually beaten and left for what they thought was dead, which led to her eventually being rescued. During that time, she was returned and ended up at Miracles. And for me, this was definitely a very difficult situation. Again, at that time, I had no idea what human trafficking was or that we were even dealing with a victim of human trafficking. This presented several challenges on both ends. One, I would say the biggest challenge was learning how to trust or build that trusting relationship again, and learning how to be non-judgmental of someone trying to take care of you or trying to know that someone can actually want something good for you and not want something in return. This really was a unique opportunity for us to be able to learn the different needs and the unique needs of trafficking victims. And I'm happy to say that more than 10 years later, this same young lady actually serves as our victim advocate for Miracles, has given us an opportunity to have a young lady to work with the girls we work with from a different perspective, to be able to understand what they've gone through, teaching them how to trust again, how to live again, and how to believe in themselves. So it has given us such a unique opportunity, a different vantage point from being able to work with these young ladies. And I just thank you all for being able to be here today to understand that this is something that's very important, and it takes a community to make this happen. And I'm really happy to see so many people from all different agencies. And it's the only way that we're going to be able to beat this, is to come together collaboratively, to be able to work together, to be able to recognize the signs, as Attorney General Moody stated, being able to recognize the signs, not being afraid to speak up and say something if you see something. Whether you know if it's something wrong or not, you have to say something in order to be able to get the ball rolling. Being able to come together and just bring awareness and help find a solution together. And I'm just thankful and grateful to everyone that we are able to just help make this a better community for everyone involved. So thank you. It's my pleasure to be able to welcome Sheriff Chronister, who's doing an amazing job in combating human trafficking in the Tampa Bay area, and just definitely proud to be a part. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I first want to thank Attorney General Moody for her tremendous and ongoing efforts to end human trafficking. Together, we are valiant partners in this fight against human exploitation, and I'm honored to serve on our statewide council on human trafficking. Unfortunately, human trafficking is oftentimes a struggle that is not keenly seen, but is one that we should never blatantly disregard. This is why we must remain proactive and vigilant at all times, especially now with the influx of people coming to the Tampa Bay area for Super Bowl 55. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office is committed to ending human trafficking every day of the year, not just during a major sporting event like the Super Bowl. Through an ongoing and sustained campaign to reduce the demand, our detectives have gone undercover to identify and apprehend individuals who are lurking and intent on sexually exploiting another person. Since the beginning of last year, we have arrested 169 individuals during operations that were aimed at targeting and deterring human trafficking in our county. By conducting enforcement on a number of fronts: street operations, the adult entertainment industry, hotel, motel, massage parlors, online chat rooms, and platforms, we can curb the demand from those who want to purchase sex. And more importantly, identify those victims of this salacious business. Choosing to take advantage of and exploiting others for your own personal escape is not a right. It's a ticket to jail. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office will not back down from this fight. Not now, not ever. Working together with our Attorney General Ashley Moody and our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners, we will always hold human traffickers accountable for their atrocious actions. By doing our part, And by creating more community awareness of what human trafficking is, victims of this form of modern-day slavery will realize they are not alone, they do not deserve this, and that help is available. It is now a pleasure to introduce the next speaker, who's from the Florida Highway Patrol. The men and women of FHP do a tremendous job protecting Floridians across the state and right here in the Tampa Bay area. And I'm grateful for the partnership we share with Major Franza and Troop C here in Hillsborough County. I am now pleased to introduce Chief Jeff Dixon with the Highway Patrol. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Sheriff. Greatly appreciate those comments. As the Sheriff said, my name is Jeff Dixon, and I'm a Chief with the Florida Highway Patrol over commercial vehicle enforcement. And on behalf of the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles Executive Director Terry Rhodes and Colonel Gene Spalding, I'd like to welcome all of you here today to our Troop C headquarters station. And thank you for being here to bring awareness to the crime of human trafficking. I especially want to thank the Attorney General for bringing us together and for leading the charge in the fight to end human trafficking in Florida. The Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol are committed to highway safety, and we are committed to creating a safer environment for all Floridians and all visitors to our state. We proudly stand with the Attorney General and our partners in the law enforcement community, along with members of industry such as the Florida Trucking Association and organizations such as Truckers Against Trafficking, to combat the horrendous crime of human trafficking. Last year, as the Attorney General mentioned, she joined my agency, the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, and launched the Highway Heroes program in partnership with Truckers Against Trafficking, aimed at training over 500,000 licensed commercial drivers in the state of Florida to learn how to identify victims of human trafficking and report those crimes. And if you'd like more information on the Highway Heroes program, I would urge you to visit our website at flhsmv.gov/Highway Heroes. The Attorney General is a tremendous leader in the efforts to end human trafficking, and we are proud to be here today with all of you, partnering to build a stronger and safer front to protect Florida's most vulnerable. Thank you again for being here. And at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Chief Dugan of the Tampa Police Department.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank Attorney General Moody and Sheriff Chronister for their leadership in combating human trafficking. They have been spearheading these campaigns for quite some time and probably don't really get the recognition for their leadership, so I really thank you for that. You know, as you know, the city of Tampa, we're within Hillsborough County, and we rely on the sheriff's assistance to combat all this stuff. And the fact that they have taken the leadership and brought in the business partnership is tremendous. You know, this partnership, bringing private entities, is going to go much longer beyond Sunday, and that's what's important. And their leadership and shining a light on such a dark topic, you know, that's very important, because this is one of those things that people get uncomfortable about talking about. And it's very important that we shed the light on that. And so when it comes to some of the private entities, I thank you, because law enforcement can't do it alone. We need your help. And so I'm going to bring up President Ken Armstrong from the Florida Trucking Association to discuss what their partnership is going to bring.
Thank you, Chief. After 20 years working at United Way, I thought I was leaving the human service world to go into this trucking thing that I didn't know anything about. Little did I know I was going to be staying in human service world. The trucking industry works very heavily with Wreaths Across America, which honors fallen veterans. The Florida Trucking Association partners with the First Lady every year on Pinwheels for Prevention, which is a child abuse prevention strategy. I chair the board of the Florida Foundation of Correctional Excellence, working with people in the correctional institutions for training and then getting out and going into productive businesses and professions, certainly truck driving being one of those. And General Moody will remember this because she and I have talked about it since. What was the one thing the head of the Florida Trucking Association wanted to hear when he heard candidate Ashley Moody running for office, standing up in front of a room of business people? I wanted to hear one thing, and lo and behold, smack in the middle of her speech, she says, "We're going to continue the fight against human trafficking." That was what I wanted to hear. I've been with her ever since. And we are with this effort. Across the country, our sort of national organization, Truckers Against Trafficking, has trained over 1 million truck drivers. There are 1 million drivers across the country and tens of thousands in Florida, and more than that actually now because of some changes in Florida statutes that know the number. It's 1-888. Now the sign says 1-800, and maybe 1-800 works too. I'm not sure, but it's actually 1-888-3737-888, and that's the number you call. The trucking industry is not trained to intervene. We're trained to get a hold of these people through the hotline so that they can make sure that if there's any sign of human trafficking, something out of place, lights flashing in a parking lot, somebody who doesn't have their ID with them, there are signs that our drivers are trained to look for, because our drivers are the eyes and ears of the road. So we're thrilled to be able to continue this partnership. We've served on panels and efforts and training platforms and so forth with all the people, and I have the honor now of introducing one of the folks who, even though they're in the business of doing good, just like the Trucking Association. It's yes, we have an industry that works on in the private sector to make sure that people get what they need, or what they want, maybe what they need. But one of the real great illustrations of a business interest who knows the power of doing good is Pepin Distributing. Lauren and Tom Pepin are leaders in this community in healthcare and in human service. And so I'd like to have Lauren Pepin come up as our next speaker because they know how to do good. Come on up, Lauren.
Thank you. Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here today representing Pepin Distributing Company, on behalf of my husband, Tom Pepin, and it's an honor to join Attorney General Moody and Sheriff Cronister, Colonel Spaulding, and the many partners across the Bay Area, including other beverage distributors, Gold Coast Eagle, Great Bay, and J.J. Taylor. We feel in order to stop human trafficking, we need to shine a light on it. That's why the National Beer Wholesalers Association and the Florida Beer Wholesalers Association have joined Attorney General Moody's program, Highway Heroes. Tampa Bay beverage distributing employees visit thousands of retail locations each week, including bars, restaurants, hotels, sporting arenas. And these employees are well positioned to spot this crime, given their access to locations often unseen by the public. So, as part of this effort, Pepin Distributing employees and employees of fellow beverage distributors receive training on human trafficking, on how to spot and identify and respond if they suspect it's occurring. Pepin Distributing's employees are now equipped with tip cards and contact information to alert authorities if they suspect any suspicious behavior. And while we're only getting started, because of this training, we feel that we have one less place for human traffickers to hide. It is my privilege to introduce a team member from Pepin Distributing, Blake West, who's going to share more on the efforts to serve the Highway Heroes program.
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank Attorney General Ashley Moody for inviting Team Pepin to share our thoughts and, frankly, our enthusiasm to be in partnership to fight this heinous crime. I'd also like to thank Tom Pepin, as well as Lauren Pepin, for giving me the opportunity to represent Team Pepin among this great cloud of witnesses. I'll admit it's a little daunting to speak in front of all of you. I'm not an elected official, I'm certainly not in law enforcement. However, I've come to learn that it's nothing short of dangerous for an average, everyday citizen to become complacent in their community. Furthermore, at Pepin, we believe it's, at best, reckless for a business to turn a blind eye to the community and its needs. Pepin Distribution has a long history spanning nearly 60 years serving our community. Recently, Pepin has taken a strong stance against human trafficking, and here at Pepin, we understand that human trafficking is not some issue that takes place far away in some remote area overseas. It's here. It's in our backyard, where we live, where we work, where we raise our families. To answer to that, I'm proud to say that Team Pepin has trained all of our personnel on how to identify the signs of human trafficking and in turn respond by notifying the proper authorities. As one of the nation's top distributors for Anheuser-Busch products, Pepin is in a unique position where we can be an extra set of eyes and ears for Tampa Bay's finest. Pepin Distribution has access to doors that are closed for most. Doors that human traffickers often hide behind. It's our hope that having open communication with local law enforcement, that we can, at least in some small way, uproot any space where someone feels comfortable participating in this despicable business. At Team Pepin, we understand that education and training, it's only the beginning. We are prepared, we are eager to move forward in this fight against human trafficking. It's now my privilege to introduce Danette Lynch from the FRLA. Thank you.
Good morning. FRLA is honored and an industry partner to be active with the Attorney General Moody on the statewide Council of Human Trafficking. 3 years ago, prior to the regulatory mandate, FRLA developed a human trafficking training awareness program, which is approved in regulatory purposes and available free, I might add, with FRLA. We applaud General Moody's strong stance on this issue and appreciate our role as an active partner and leader to this active awareness that protects survivors and the potential victims. We stand with the Attorney General committed to increasing a staff level awareness and priority level leadership responsibility to be part of the solution of this horrific crime. Particularly frightening aspect of the crime is that happens literally under our noses, whether missing red flags in our industry, operations, or failing to appreciate the vulnerability of our children that the preparatories are honored to stand against. We, with the Attorney General, call for the industry to commit to this fight in every shift, every day. Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Vivian Morgan with Airbnb.
Thank you, Danette. I'm Viviana Jordan with Airbnb. And on behalf of Airbnb, I would like to thank Attorney General Moody for her partnership and collaboration in working with us to help bring the message of anti-human trafficking and what needs to be done to our host community in the Tampa Bay area. importantly, how to report it, because we know that human trafficking doesn't just happen ahead of big events. Human trafficking is a crime that occurs year-round and can happen anywhere. And we know that the hospitality industry plays an important role in helping to address this issue. Airbnb takes the challenge of confronting human trafficking very seriously, and we are strongly committed to working with law enforcement officials and anti-trafficking advocates to try to prevent these horrible crimes and give our hosts on the ground the tools that they need and help hold criminals accountable. Here in Florida, ahead of the big game, we've hosted workshops for Tampa Bay area host community, along with anti-human trafficking organization Polaris, to share important information about the signs of human trafficking and how to help identify and report it to local authorities. General Moody has joined a lot of these trainings via video message, and our host community has been really excited to see how we have come together to collaborate on this partnership. We've also joined It's a Penalty's global campaign to raise awareness about trafficking and exploitation ahead of the game, and shared information about the signs of human trafficking through social media and directly with our host community through email messaging to ensure that they have the resources they need to recognize and report this crime. These efforts in Tampa Bay build upon Airbnb's ongoing work to combat trafficking, which includes partnering with Polaris to establish robust training for Airbnb's global team of agents and crisis managers to help them quickly and expertly handle cases involving possible signs of trafficking or exploitation. Additionally, Airbnb has designated a specialized customer service team to support hosts and guests right here in the Bay Area ahead of the big game. This team is focusing on addressing any issues that come up during reservations in the Tampa Bay area this week to promote safety and security for hosts, guests, and neighbors. Attorney General Moody, thank you again for allowing us to join you in the fight against human trafficking. We appreciate your leadership on this issue and bringing the private industry to the table on this fight. Lastly, I want to thank law enforcement, and particularly Florida Highway Patrol, for hosting us this morning, as well as Tampa PD, the Tampa Bay Human Trafficking Task Force, which we had the honor of presenting to, the It's a Penalty team, and our partners over at Visit Tampa Bay, all for their guidance and valuable insights throughout this process. We are honored to be a part of this campaign. And with that, I would like to welcome back Attorney General Moody to take some of your questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you again for being here today and helping us shed light on what is truly one of the most horrific, disturbing crimes that I have seen as a mother, as a Floridian, as a citizen of this wonderful, wonderful community. And I am glad that you're here to be introduced to Team Heroes. And we've been really busy on our draft season. We got a great lineup here. We had some key recruits. They are going to add what to is already a strong offensive line in our fight to end human trafficking. We will win this fight. We're going to be smart, creative, engaged, persistent, and aggressive in going after human trafficking. Florida is a zero-tolerance state, and this is not the last time I will be at a podium imploring the community and citizens to help us and help law enforcement. It is one of our fundamental responsibilities when we become citizens of a community to be engaged, to help protect those around us. I believe it's even a higher calling than that. And so this is not the last time I will be at a podium pleading with citizens to help law enforcement create stronger, safer communities. And I'm going to help them and give them the tools that they need to engage those citizens and those businesses to do just that. So in wrapping up today's press conference, I would be more than happy to take any questions or direct any that you may have for any of our MVPs up here today.
Madam Attorney General, thank you for your leadership on this human trafficking issue. But I'd like to ask you a question about the events of January 6th at the U.S. Capitol.
Sure.
Given what happened that day, do you regret joining the state in a lawsuit that would attempt to pull out the wills of millions of Americans?
Well, let me first be clear. I swiftly condemned the activities of January 6th. I continue to do so. You know, for someone who has served as a prosecutor and a judge for over a decade and now serves as Attorney General, the breakdown of law and order and peaceful protest was devastating to me, as it was, I know, many people across our nation. I want to make sure that you're clear. In fact, it's probably not been clear as to what the legal underpinnings were of what we in the Attorney General's office did. We were hoping, I still wish it would have occurred, that the Supreme Court would have taken jurisdiction. We asked with other Attorneys General offices for them to do so as filing a friend of the court brief. We weren't a party in that action, but we believed that the highest court in the nation should have taken jurisdiction and addressed whether or not the actions of elected officials were constitutional. That wasn't done. I wish it was done. I know some justices of the Supreme Court wanted to take jurisdiction. Nonetheless, again, I go back to my longstanding belief and respect for our court system, the fact that we are a nation under a rule of law, and you know, moving forward, it is my hope that some of these difficult, challenging legal issues can be cleared up so that it presents a more clear pathway in our future elections, and that really was the underlying goal. But you know, again, I'll go back to why we're here today, and I don't want to distract from what truly is a united partnership in fighting against the most heinous that live among us, and those are human traffickers. And so I appreciate your question, but I want to make sure that we remain focused on why we're here today.
I just have to follow up there.
Sure.
In the brief, it alleges that other state actors besides legislatures made changes to election law. That was the effect of you joining or sending that brief. But similar things have happened in the state of Florida. Governor Rick Scott, or when he was governor, made similar changes in Dane County in the face of a disaster they were facing during Hurricane Michael. So that happens in states, and it certainly happened here. Joining that lawsuit certainly propagated this narrative that the election was stolen, and that helped lead.
Again, and I think I'm going to just make sure that it seems that you may be unclear, and I'll direct you back to the briefs. Again, Florida wrote a friend of the court brief, or we joined a friend of the court brief. We were not a party in that action. We didn't join that lawsuit. And the specific issue, and again, I believe moving forward for the stability and strength and truly the continuity of our great states, of the United States of America and our unified nation, is that these issues of law and whether or not elected officials or judges in the middle of an election can upend a law and whether or not that's constitutional remains important. And so I know that justices of the Supreme Court wanted to take up that issue. I know moving forward, courts will still be grappling with that issue because it wasn't clarified. I believe when there are these legal arguments, it needs to be entertained by our courts, and I was hoping in this instance our United States Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, I think that would have been the best course moving forward for this country and for our state. Historically, these same arguments have been made by attorneys general in elections, and so that it was in the proper legal course that we did that. That was in December. We're in January. We're moving forward. There's a new administration in place. We have a team here acting under the executive branch and with community partners where we're facing our responsibilities of upholding law and order, enforcing the laws. That's why we're here today. We'll remain united no matter what party, what branch, whether you're a local municipality, state law enforcement, county law enforcement, beer distributing, air travel, ground travel, doesn't matter. We're all unified. We are a nation under a rule of law, and the people here today are pledging to be team members to uphold just that. Well, there you go. Please, I would love to take a question on human trafficking. President Biden is our president, certainly. All of us here today are focused on moving forward and enforcing the laws.
Thank you, guys. I read a report the other day that said that the
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
That perhaps it's not happening more around the Super Bowl, but that there's more focus from law enforcement on it, and that's why there tends to be the
We know that human trafficking necessarily increases when we have large-scale entertainment events. It's not just the Super Bowl. It can move into other sports. We know that the level of that activity will increase surrounding these large-scale events, and that's why we're ramping up our efforts to recruit community members and citizens to help us in that fight. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.